But is he wrong?
Sociopaths, all of this type of stuff. Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist.
People out there who were sharing articles about how it was that Bill Burr called Jimmy Kimmel dumb to his face on his show, but I want you to know right now that that is not exactly what happened in this case. However, we are going to talk about this, of course, for a few minutes, and of course, I'm going to show you exactly what was said, but I'm also going to explain to you guys why it is that some comedians, especially Dave Chappelle, which I'm probably not going to play any clips of, because, well, the thing about Dave Chappelle is this right here. Dave has been calling this out for a while, but still at the same time, I don't want to recycle any old clips, but there is one in particular that I will be playing that came out recently about, let's just say that Dave responded to someone in his audience. But of course, this video, for the most part, is about Bill Burr, and it's something that I have been saying for a very long time. And of course, there's going to be headers over a lot of the content because of the copyright scheme, the copyright system, and how it operates. So, Bill Burr went on Jimmy Kimmel the other night. Jimmy Kimmel. How it is that Jimmy Kimmel suddenly became very, very much a part of the establishment, very, very much a part of the scheme. Of course, that scheme being the propaganda scheme, the propaganda machine, because everything that Jimmy Kimmel does nowadays is Donald Trump related. Now, guys, if you want to know why it was that Donald Trump went from 62.9 million votes to 74.2 million votes over the course of one election cycle, this has probably got a lot to do with it. You see, someone like Kimmel at one point in time, he used to actually be, how do I say, funny. He's not funny anymore. He hasn't been funny for a very long time. It's almost like the minute that Donald Trump came into the picture, guys like himself, Colbert, their brains just immediately disappeared. Bring back Jay Leno. I mean, Jay Leno roasted everybody. Now, guys, really quick, before we go any further, I want to say this right now. Comedy is subjective, okay? And of course, not only is comedy subjective, but if it's political comedy or political satire, just know this right here, that even though I am a guy who is definitely on the conservative side of the aisle, a lot of times, a lot of the criticisms that were laid at former President Trump or even George W. Bush, they actually were kind of funny, especially when they were done on Saturday Night Live. The problem is that when you bring somebody in, like, say, Alec Baldwin, and they're doing it from malicious intent, and they're not very good impersonations, after a while, they begin to lose any type of, let's just say they lose their sting. Also, something else, too, when it's done in malicious nature, or done from malicious intentions, it's normally not funny. It loses its fervor very, very quickly. Just figure I'd go ahead and get that out of the way. Of course, when Daryl Hammond did the Donald Trump impersonations, they were much, much funnier because Daryl Hammond was doing it strictly for comedic purposes. Norm Macdonald talked about this a lot on the channel, which, by the way, he has been passed. He's died, but of course, there are channels dedicated to Norm Macdonald and his comedy and some of his old sketches, especially from his days at Saturday Night Live. There's a channel called I'm Not Norm, which goes through everything that Norm Macdonald has ever said, at least publicly, and of course, a lot of things that he said he got correct. Bill Burr, on the other hand, and I know this video is supposed to be about Bill Burr, but I think it's more along the lines of the fact that Bill Burr is the type of guy that, and I'm not really a big fan of his, but Bill Burr is not wrong. He understands how people talk to one another. He understands how people operate. He understands how their minds work. He understands that after a while, if you keep talking about something over and over and over again, people will eventually get turned off by it. And of course, everything that's going on now with Donald Trump, especially the indictments, at the end of the day, you just may be martyring this guy. I mean, even Chris Rock said so.
Talk about Adam to CNN people. Are you guys really going to arrest Trump? Do you know this is only going to make him more popular? It's like arresting Tupac. He's just going to sell more records.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're turning the guy to Tupac. You're martyring the guy. I've been saying this from the very get-go. If you continue, more and more attention that you give this guy, the more he will simply use it to his advantage. Now, about Bill Burr, let's take a look at exactly what Bill Burr said, and then we'll come back on the other end, and then, of course, I'll bring up another clip that was mentioned by Dave Chappelle to kind of help clamp down this entire thing.
Like, I know what I'm going to tell my kids when they get to a certain age. I really am. Like, I have it down.
You have it
about
planned
religion and people.
Really?
Narcissists, sociopaths, all of this type of stuff. Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy.
Yeah.
Neutral.
You think he'd go away?
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote The Twist. And then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist is back.
He's coming back. It's going to be great for comedy. He's coming back. I can't believe, like, these are honestly going to be our two choices, because I really try to, with each thing, to try to be, like, figure out who I'm going to, but I mean, it's got to be, I want somebody in their 40s, somebody that's going to have to live with their decisions. I don't want, like, you know, with any luck, they'll both die of natural causes before the election. And maybe you could get somebody that still has something to live for.
Wow.
You know?
This year, you're not going to get a visit from Santa, but you are going to get a visit from the Secret Service.
Why? I said died peacefully.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear peacefully.
I did.
Oh,
and then you threw that in.
I must have thrown that in, yeah. Bill Burr is here. He means no harm.
You guys notice how Jimmy just straight up cut him off at the end? Because it looked like Bill was about to explain himself a little bit further, and it looked like he was about to actually maybe even give some form of encouraging words. But of course, you know, liberals don't want to accept any form of criticism. So it doesn't really surprise me that somebody who's now an ardent propagandist would just cut him off and go straight to commercial. Really quick, about Trump being a narcissist, I'm going to leave this video in the description box from Dr. Todd Grandi. I would advise you guys watch it. It's actually kind of funny. There is something about a healthy level of confidence, a little bit of narcissism. And I know some liberals are going to say, he's a narcissist, and my response is going to be, yeah, that's kind of why we like him. We also like the fact that he triggers the literal hell out of you. And of course, we like the fact that every time he does trigger you guys, you start screaming, he's a narcissist. Basically, what Bill Burr is trying to say is that you guys kind of feed into him is what you do. You kind of feed the energy around him. But of course, you guys won't learn because you obviously don't want to take criticism. Funny. I mean, it's just very weird. And I'll talk more about criticism here in a second. But the fact of the matter is that this is one of the main reasons why it is we love the guy so much, because he does, in fact, trigger you guys. Bill Burr is just simply calling it out. He's just simply saying, and maybe if you guys like left him alone, then quite frankly, he wouldn't have any attention being given his way. And maybe you might be able to defeat him that way. But of course, you people, once again, won't listen. Right, I forgot. Bill Burr has actually been saying this for a while. Now, guys, Burr is no Trump voter. He's no Trump supporter. I mean, hell, at the previous UFC event, his wife was giving Donald Trump the finger. He's no Trump voter. He's no conservative. He's a comic. He's probably a little bit more on the liberal side of things, but he kind of understands that there are stupid people on both sides of the aisle. Even I have had to call out the dumbasses on my side of the aisle. In yesterday's video on Riley Gaines at the very end, if you got through the very end, don't worry, I'll link it in the description box. I talked about how it was that one side of the aisle, my side of the aisle, attacking somebody for getting paid some money for an endorsement, when the other person, the person that I personally prefer, the guy we've been mentioning, Trump, also tried to pay her off or tried to pay for an endorsement as well. You're attacking this person, even though this person will ultimately end up joining the fight with you after the whole situation is said. No, it's not a good idea. It's how you alienate people. This, by the way, is how the left alienates people, because they constantly whine and cry about people. And Bill Burr kind of called this right after the 2016 election.
Hillary Clinton at the inauguration. I thought that was, for her to show up at that inauguration, it's the second time that...
And she started crying a little bit again. I don't know, man. I don't know. I get sick of people making excuses for her. She blew it. See that? Nobody thinks that. She blew it. Look, you lost to a guy who said 3 things a week that would torpedo anybody else's campaign. How do you do that? That's like you're playing a football game, the other team throws 20 interceptions, and you still figure out how to blow it. At what point do you take responsibility? They try to say, they would be like, oh, it was a bunch of, I love the racist white guy thing. A bunch of racist white guys. They came out of the forest, and they were just going, Trump, Trump, Trump. It's like, where were all these racist white guys the last 2 elections when they could have voted against a black guy? They were fine. Oh, I don't mind the black guy, but this white lady, we got to stop her. It's going to take her 4-wheelers, Macuzzi.
So, okay, so not a lot of sympathy there for Hillary Clinton.
No. You blew it. You blew it.
Like,
you put the wrong team around you. You didn't generate enough excitement to beat this guy I mean, it was unbelievable. The stuff that he was just tripping over one coffee table after another, and somehow you just couldn't
What
get
he
out.
was saying is that he did not have any sympathy for Hillary Clinton. He, for the most part, was also saying he didn't have any sympathy for those who are crying about her losing, the social justice warrior types, the people that were screaming no and everything at Trump's inauguration. What he was trying to say is also something else, too. It's a very, very important lesson in life that I don't think the left seems to understand. If you lose, you just simply take the loss, you look at the loss, you go through the criticism, you accept the criticism, you see what the hell can be worked on, and then you move forward. That is what you do. Of course, as a content creator on this platform who's got a very small channel, who's made close to 800 videos, who can't get it through the algorithm, you probably think I take my own advice. I do. But still, at the same time, though, taking your own advice and actually implementing it is another thing altogether. Still, though, the thing is this right here. The left has tried to implement these crazy, loony policies. Nobody actually wants anything to do with it. They want none of these bad ideas to come into practice, but still at the same time, they don't seem to actually implement what it is that they've learned from. Something else, too, that needs to be considered is exactly what Bill Burr said. You're being an idiot by constantly throwing excessive indictments at this guy. I have said this on several occasions, and I mean this. And, of course, I've looked at this. The most you're ever going to do to this guy during one of these indictments is that you may get an arrest or you may get a secondary mugshot, of which, by the way, you would get a conviction, which more than likely would then be overturned on appeal because appeals courts always correct the errors of the current court that convicted someone. They typically tend to do so. It doesn't happen in every single case, but of course, judging on these indictments, judging on these cases that they've currently got on Trump, they're flimsy at best. For example, the New York case with Stormy Daniels, 37 separate misdemeanors, and of course, they're all 2 years outside the state statute of limitations. So if they convict him in that case, all he has to do is just send it to the appeals court, and the appellate judge will say that there was no conviction that was needed here, and of course, they'll overturn it. The 1-6 case will probably not make its way to the courts until 2025, and even if it did, it would be rushed, and then it would be shot down again on appeal. Every single one of these cases are going to be shot down on appeal. The real truth about the situation is all designed to take more money from the man, of which, by the way, they have already attempted to remove him from the ballot. They just tried again in Arizona via the 14th Amendment, and of course, it did not work. 5 separate times, it has not worked. They tried it in Colorado, they tried it in Minnesota, they tried it in Michigan, they tried it in New Hampshire as well. It didn't work on either case. Chances are you're probably going to get a rematch of who the hell ran in 2020. And to go on top of that, you're probably going to get a low turnout election, which means that the person who's got the much more, let's just say the base with more fervor is more than likely going to win that election. Definitely much harder to put fortifications in if that's going to be the case. But still, the thing is this right here. What Bill Burr is saying is that you guys are simply making him a martyr. This is what you do. Anytime you boo-hoo, whine, cry, or try to virtue signal, the only thing you do is alienate people who might would side with you, and after a while, they will no longer give you their support or their vote. You are martyring a guy, and these people will probably stay home and say, screw you, I will just simply let the man go into office. That is what they are doing, and Bill Burr is once again warning these people of what they're doing. So, no, I did not hear him call Jimmy Kimmel stupid to his face, a lot like some influencers out there have put in their thumbnails. That is not the case here. If anything, he just simply called liberals stupid. Brings me to Dave Chappelle. Now, guys, I love Dave Chappelle. I've liked his comedy for a long time. I mean, I remember the Chappelle Show. Man, I think probably the best sketch he did was definitely the Charlie Murphy, Rick James sketches. The Prince one was also pretty good too. My memory's a little bit fuzzy right now. I'm having a hard time getting certain things out. You guys know I like to do these videos, do them off script. Something I obviously need to work on in the future. But still, the thing is this here. Dave Chappelle has also been warning these people too. You see, Chappelle recently got attacked over going to Capitol Hill, taking a couple of selfies with Byron Donalds, taking some selfies with Lauren Boebert. Dave Chappelle, by the way, is no conservative. He is no conservative at all. I want to say he endorsed Andrew Yang in 2020. I've always said that he's always been a little bit more on the left side of the aisle, but of course he's also told people that, Donald Trump is very popular in the area that he lives at. He's warned these people to not take this guy lightly. Of course, there was a whole bit where he did on Saturday Night Live, which I can't play for you guys due to copyright, but I can play this one right here for you guys. So when Dave is approached, and of course somebody at one of his shows ask him about Trump, you get a response like this. You shouldn't be surprised.
Good question.
What the fuck you gonna do if Trump get reelected?
What am I going to do if Trump get reelected? Probably get a significant tax break.
guys pay attention to the audience at the very end, how they looked? Did you guys, look, I'm pulling it up for you guys again. I mean, look at these people. Look how unhappy they are. I mean, it's almost like the left has completely lost their sense of humor. They just can't, like, I don't know, man. Very, very bitter people, in my opinion. I'm just throwing that out there. Probably just get a tax break. The thing is this right here. Dave Chappelle is one of the few comics out there who, quite frankly, can get away with being himself. He's always going to have some popularity. He's always going to have a following. Burr kind of fits that brand too, even though I'm not a Bill Burr fan. But of course, what Bill Burr said earlier was not a lie. The only thing you're doing by constantly complaining about Donald Trump is that you're just simply martyring him. You're just simply making him, you're making people want to vote for him despite you. Like I said, what's one way that you could turn 62.9 million votes to 74.2 million votes? You sit back and you listen to these people whine and cry, boo-hoo whine and cry about everything in the world, call the man the devil or whatnot, when we all know that the country would just survive another 4 years. Like, I honestly believe that we will survive the next 4 years. We may not survive the next 4 years under Biden, but still at the same time, the country is obviously still in existence, and obviously we are still here, even though the situation sucks, even though the conditions are horrible. Chappelle, of course, responding to a guy like that with, he's probably going to give me a tax break, is Chappelle's way of saying, dude, leave me the hell alone. I don't want to hear your whines. I don't want to hear your cries. And quite frankly, you're not going to bully me into anything, even though Dave Chappelle more than likely would actually side with the Never Trump crowd in the audience. But you guys tell me in the comment section if you think liberals will actually learn from this, if liberals will actually listen to someone like Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle, or if they won't just attack them much, much further. And one more thing about Jimmy Kimmel. I'm shocked he's still out there, but I think I know the real reason why he's there. You see, Jimmy Kimmel has gotten to the point to where everything that comes out of his mouth is Trump. Trump this, Trump that. Of course, he's got a lot of his own hypocrisies in his past. The Man Show, which, by the way, I watched for a little bit when I was younger. Of course, you've got blackface. You've got anything and everything that the left would actually go crazy over. But, of course, he gets a pass because it's Jimmy Kimmel. But still, though, at the same time, you got to wonder, when are people going to look at this and say, dude, you're just a one-note joke, and Donald Trump is actually the only thing you have. As a matter of fact, you need Donald Trump now more than anybody in the audience would ever need you. Just figure I'd go ahead and throw that out there. Guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. There's going to be a lot of videos out this weekend, a lot of topics to cover. I want to go ahead and get this right out of the way first. Please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this, and I'll see you guys later.